Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of KuzilCraft, and in today's episode we are going to set up our applied energistics system. Now I went ahead and hooked everything up, make sure it all works before I did this episode. Now I was tempted, I actually did record an episode after it was all done, and I showed you kind of how to connect an external storage from the refined storage to this and then back, and kind of what that looks like. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So what you want to do, if you remember in the last episode, we talked about the controllers and how you want to set them up. You can set them up with just one like this. Here, let's go over to the power. We're going to hook it up here. Now that should be getting power, right? And then you can bring off cables from any direction, right? So you can bring off cables this direction and so on and so forth. Or you can make it bigger like this. So you can bring it around like a cube here. So let's get up here. Hup, hup. That was not what I wanted to do. Let's jump up here. There we go. And now we can bring it off of any of these. The cabling off of any of these, and it works just fine. You know that something isn't right when you take one of these away or you build it and you don't have colors. You have colors, everything's working. So this is actually consuming, it's using 119, 120 RF per tick just for that. All right, so now if you remember, when I was explaining how to do the channels, each of these dense cables can hold 32 channels, and each of the regular smart cables can hold 8. So now if I count each of these centrifuges, so here, let me just kind of run around and show you where everything is, because I got it all set up here. All right. I have a centrifuge above each bee. So this is where the honey from here, actually not this one. So the spatial combs are going to be processed here. We have a special place for the regular honeycomb. So you have one channel going in, one channel coming out, and then you've got a channel here to pull everything out of here. So what I mean by that is import buses. Where are my import buses? There we go. For every single one of these hives, you want an import bus coming on the bottom of it, or however you have your setup. So for this particular one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels that I need to account for. So that can be handled by regular smart cable. So let's connect that up. So that I know when I connect this to my system is going to be just 8 channels, or just 5 channels. That's all that this one's going to have is 5. So let's put you there. Okay. Now on this other side, let's do, yeah, this is going to work. The same thing, right? So I have 5 more here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that's 10 in total. So I cannot connect these up together. These have to be a separate settings unless I want to run dense cable through here. Now remember, dense cable can do 32. So if I wanted to run dense cable down there, I could, but I didn't because I want to run this cabling up into the ceiling. And one of the things that you can do with this cabling is cover it with these facades. Now these facades are made oh, come on. There we go. These facades are made by taking the item that you want to make they're basically the covers. And they're made by these cable anchors. You need 4 cable anchors to make 4 facades. And these are basically the covers from refined storage, right? So the cable anchor is made by taking any ingot of any kind, it doesn't matter, and the Certus quartz cutting knife. Now this will actually make you want to say a stack and a half of these cable anchors before it breaks. This is just 2 Certus quartz. It doesn't have to be charged. A piece of iron and 2 sticks. They don't have to be treated or anything. It's just regular sticks. And that's going to get you this Certus quartz cutting knife. Now again, you take that Certus quartz cutting knife with any block, and it becomes what Applied Energistics calls a facade. It's basically just a cover. Now I can make that look great. When I'm not looking at it, I don't see the borders of it. So like when I look at this one, the creases are here. It's very nice. But if I look at this, then it's obviously a facade. And then we can just cover these up with the facades, and we can even do the back. Now I put in all of the bees, the nests here. They don't actually have any bees in them, but all their flowers are down here if I wanted to. So then I could put this back and tell myself that that particular column is done, and then come over here and do the same thing. Put facades all the way around it and all the way up. Now this is going to make it so that it looks really clean, and you almost can't tell that there's bees here. Now the one last thing, you can see piping here. So let's take a stripped oak facade. That's just taking the stripped oak, stripped dark oak rather, and using facades on it, or the cable anchors rather, and that will make you the facades. Okay, so now this looks complete. When you come in here, you can see the centrifuge, which is fine. I actually kind of like that. You can't see the feeding slab, but that's okay. Now I did go ahead and make these. I'll show you how to make these, so don't worry. I did do that in the video that I recorded, so I'll do that with you as well. But let's come back up here and show you how this works. Okay, so I know that I have 5 coming off of here and 5 coming off of there, but we have to handle these centrifuges, right? So we need an importer and an exporter. So let's say that we put the importers on this side, just because. Okay, and we're going to put the exporters on the top, because what we want to do is we want to export the combs. We want to basically take, so the importers, let me go back a little bit. The importers on the bottom of these beehives is just going to pull in everything. So whatever these bees make, it's going to just pull in everything, okay? And don't worry, I'll show you how to make these. But I made the spatial bees with you. I read the regular honeybees. I need to make some more Prospera bees and these Flux bees. We all did that on camera together. But the rest of these I did not do with you, so I will show you how to make those. Don't worry. But anyway, so the import bus down here is going to basically take everything and stick it into the system. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the exporters, and I'm going to export what I want where I want. So let's take that off for just a second. All right, so I'm going to take, let's see if I can grab that. All right, so I'm going to take the spatial comb and I'm going to export it into this centrifuge, okay? So now anytime this beehive produces spatial honeycombs, it'll stick it into this centrifuge. So the same thing over here. We'll just take the redstone comb, stick it in this export bus, dump the rest of those centrifuges in there, honeycombs in the centrifuge. And these we're actually going to do something else with over here, so we'll do that in a minute. And then the Prospera bees, we'll take those out. Put them in the filter. Now you can add filters. I'll show you how to do that later. You can add spaces here by adding different cards. But we don't need to do that because these are single items that we're trying to put in here. I'm not trying to put in multiple items. Okay. So now, however you want to design your bees, it doesn't matter if it's on the top or the side or what, or on the bottom even, but you need an importer and an exporter. The exporter is going to have the comb that you want, and I would recommend making a centrifuge for each beehive. I've tried multiple times to do multiple beehives to the same centrifuge, and if you've got a bunch of speed upgrades, it works, sort of, but then it gets bottlenecked, right? So I would recommend doing one centrifuge per beehive, and it doesn't have to be powered. You put a bunch of speed upgrades in here, it's going to be just fine. Now, it will produce honey, so if you want to bucket that out, if you want to add another spot here for honey storage, that's fine too. I didn't find that to be necessary. Okay, so now that we've got our centrifuges kind of set up here, we notice that there's 2 channels per centrifuge, plus the one for the importer per beehive. So there's 3 centrifuges per beehive. Now, that tells me that so on this particular line I have 10. So that tells me that I need 30, a dense cable coming over here and handling these. So what I recommend we do is we come over to the top here, and we'll bring it over like this until we're past all of this, because we have all of this to handle, right? We want that to be down here. And I'll explain all that here in a minute, but I'm going to bring this from the top and just bring it down right about here. Okay, now this dense cable can handle all of these. So what if you want to do it like this, you can just bring your dense cable around. It'll handle all 32 channels. Actually, let's bring this over one more, yeah? Just to make it look a little bit nicer. So if I have 30 channels, we know that dense cabling can handle all of these. Except I have a bunch more over here. So I might have to be creative of how I do this. I might actually have to move this. Or can I put it over here? Where is it? Here? I might be able to put it there. All right, so my centrifuge, and where is it? This one? Yeah. So let's put the, yeah, the thing is, I need the bottler right next to it. So let's pull this out. Let's put the bottler right next to it, right? Now I can't access that down there. That's totally fine. Now this bottler, I need to have, yeah, that'll work. Okay, so the honey produced, let's just grab these. Okay, put them in here. Put our bottler down next to those, and that will start producing honey. Now I need an exporter on this to export bottles. Where's my exporter? Export empty bottles. And then what I want to import off the side is all those bottles, right? So now this should be fully automated. Now what I can do for each of these then, see, that gives me 32. That's exactly how many channels I have, right? So 5, 10, 32. Perfect. Ha. We'll do something else with this. All right. So let's take these single channels and connect them up. All right, so that is telling me 5. That's right. Connect those. That should be 3, 2. 2, of course. Right. Okay, that should be 2. Right, okay. And each of these is going to be 2 until we get to the main, this one here. All right, so this is going to be, so 1 here and 2 here. That's fine. That is kind of a mess, but it figures itself out, right? So there's 2 here, 1 here, and 2 here, basically. But it's all connecting just in case it needs to reroute itself, which is totally fine. Now when I connect all this up, that should be all 32 channels. Unless I did my math wrong. There's 5 here, 2 here. Is that all 32? No, it's 31. How? So 5, 10, 30. Oh, I guess it's just 1. 31. That makes sense here. 1. All right, so let's put this trash can back. Here is fine. And we're going to put an exporter here. I'll tell you why in a minute. And that will actually find its channel wherever. Now we're going to export the wax. So as these things produce wax, we'll actually, yeah, here. So, that needs an importer. This is not going to work. Yeah, this needs an importer as well. Off to the side. Can I do that? Yeah. Because this is just exporting. I need an importer here. And you can be kind of messy like this with channels. There's our 32. Okay. So we'll have to do that trash can somewhere else. Okay, so this is going to pull in everything out of here into our system. And let's go ahead and put bottles in here. And that should pull the bottles out. No. Why not? Why is this not pulling out bottles? Oh, it doesn't have anywhere to put them. That's why. Okay, so nothing's getting pulled out because we don't have this connected over here. All right, so down here at the bottom, we set this up last time, is our storage. So let's go ahead and connect that up. That way all of those have somewhere to go. Again, I'm going to go up high with it. Let's see if this will work. Because I need to run some things on the bottom. Oh no. All right, so let's put that somewhere else. That's fine. I don't want to move the receiver. I've moved the receiver a few times. Actually, I should move the receiver and redo that. I want it set up a little bit closer over here. Okay, that's fine. And I have a special setup for this here, so we'll do all that together here in a minute. Okay, so now those bottles should be going into the system now, right? Yeah, good. And the wax is going into the system, and all of the things are going where they need to go. All right, so these are being centrifuged into whatever they need to be centrifuged into, and then they're being dropped into the system. So if I come in here, I'll look at all the different things that I have. Okay, so is there a speed upgrade that I'm missing? Maybe on this one here. Yeah. All right, let's speed that up. All the rest of these have speed upgrades. I highly recommend speed upgrading your centrifuges, or they're just going to get bottlenecked by producing too much. These bees produce a lot, so your centrifuges need speed upgrades. Look at these. 36. In here, this one's 64. Yeah, Fluix, these bees are producing a lot. All right, so that is a full channel. So if you set up 10 nests or 10 beehives with 10 centrifuges, including the vanilla one, that's 32 channels by itself. So that's how you do channels. Now the rest of these, we're gonna have to be a little bit creative how we do these. We might have to split them up. So for example, let's take the large cables and come over something like here, right? And then we can actually run around the corner like this. And let's see how many of these we have. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's going to be the same, right? So one of these, so actually I could bring this over the top and do all of those in a single one. Now, how many do I have here in the middle? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So no, I can't do those under one. So we're gonna have to split this up, which is totally fine. And let's go over like this, and we'll just split it up like that. So we'll cut it in half. So these 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 will be off of this one, and these 2, 4, 6, 8 will be off of this one. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So, well, let's bring this one over. Oh. Now I have more dense cables over here because like I said, I had this all set up and then I tore them all down. I made a lot. I made a lot of these. Now, how you have this set up is totally up to you. How you want to build this. If you have a more efficient design than I do, you can totally totally make less of these, but this is the design that I came up with, and it works. Now, don't be afraid if you're like, okay, there's the channels thing is annoying. Just run all of your cables, connect them all up. The system will figure it out, right? So you don't have to keep them separate. I could connect all these up, and then the system will actually figure out where to route the channels to make it work. So for example, if I ran, the only caveat to that is you have to have enough channels going there. So let's say that I had 50 channels over here. I'd have to run 2 dense cables to make that work, right? I'd just run them next to each other, basically connect them up, and then the system would just figure out how to split it up. That's something you totally could do. All right, so now I have all my dense cables for everything that I want. Let's go through and put all of the, put those away. Let's put all the importers and the exporters where they need to go. All right, so exporters, let's start with those. Does this have a filter in it or something? No. I just had too many. Okay. So like with everything else, just going to put the exporters on top and the importers on the sides. And as I make the bees for these different centrifuges, I'll be able to just come up here and then click through there and add in the filter. So these are just adding the channels. This is all just channel prep. But basically, running through it like this will tell you, okay, this is what a channel is. This is what I did to make these channels work. And then I just recommend just get it all done, right? Do it all at the same time. I hope you don't mind watching me do all this on camera. All right, so I have exporters on the top, importers on the side. I have more importers than I have exporters. Because there's going to be an importer on the bottom of all of the beehives as well. Don't forget. So you're going to make twice as many importers as exporters in my build. Well, I think in pretty much any build. Yeah, have to have shift right click. Otherwise you're just going to open it up. Now I did see today, just today actually, I saw that Refined Storage 2 has been officially released, which is super exciting for me because I prefer Refined Storage. I know how to use Applied Energistics 2, but Applied Energistics 2 has all of these channel requirements, which is not a bad thing. It can be a cool way to like, I don't know, system plan, or if you have like if you like doing channel management, that could be something that you prefer, you know. Let's go ahead and just connect it up like that. Yeah. Yeah, some people may prefer the channel method versus the just the everything's connected. But now in Refined Storage 2, it can do everything that Applied Energistics 2 can do. So there's no difficulties with crafting or so for example, you know, we had to kind of manipulate the when we're doing crafting. So like say the infuser for Powa, the Powa mod, we had to kind of do an extra something to get that to work. So it's basically like redstoning the crafter on and off to get it to work. Whereas with Refined Storage 2, you don't need that extra mod to make that work. It's got the technology built into it, which is awesome. Okay. All right, that is all set up. And now we need to get this all set up over here. So for example, in the crafters, they're called auto crafters now. Those things can have different modes, whereas before they just had the redstone mode, ignore redstone, stuff like that. You can actually do craft one pattern at a time, like wait to put in the rest of the materials until the machine is empty, or until the crafting comes back. So once the system has received the items that it's been asking for, so let's say that I ask it to make 10 furnaces, right? One of the settings is wait until a furnace, one of the crafting patterns comes in before you send the second, which is a really, really cool feature. I mean, that's basically what these Applied Energistics 2 does, but now with Refined Storage. And there's some other really cool, other really cool updates to the Refined Storage 2. So I'm really excited to get into that with y'all someday. We don't have that in this mod pack, and I don't think I'm going to update to that. That'll be reserved for another mod pack. All right, so we're almost done. Now I have more exporters than I have centrifuges because we're going to use those for something else later. I do want to show you in this episode how to connect your Refined Storage with your Applied Energistics 2 storage. Now, anybody who is familiar with these two mods knows that you can't directly connect them. So what's in my refined storage will not be accessible from my Applied Energistics 2 storage, and vice versa. But with other mods, we can kind of trick it into giving us what we need, sort of. And each of them have external storages. So if we use the external storage, then sort of both machines have access to both, to all the resources. All right, so we're done up here. We have everything connected up here. So we have to go down, and we're gonna connect underneath everything. So let's come back down here, and I'll show you how to connect all this down here. So import bus. We're just gonna start over here, and we're just gonna run along and add all these up. Now again, for these, there's 5 on each side, and I don't want to run dense cable down here, so I'm just gonna run the regular one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll come down, run this over, and these will be 5 channels on each side. And we'll cover all of this, of course. So let's connect that up there. Boom, 5 channels. We'll go around the other side and do the same thing. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now when we go back upstairs, that should be like 30 channels of the 32. So come down here and do the same thing. And there's only 9 here, so I'll pick a side, it doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll just do 4 on this one. I have to go upstairs and grab some more of my regular cables. Okay, that should be 4 channels, that's right. And then this should be 5 here. Now hopefully this makes sense, right? I don't think it's too complicated. It's just the number of attachments. The channels are basically the number of attachments to the system. The number of machines connected, or connections to the machines, however you want to say it. Yep. Okay, let's head back up here and grab some more regular cable. And we'll grab these facades. Now what I did have in here before was illumination panels, and you can put these kind of wherever you want. It is pretty bright up here already, so we don't really need them. But if you want to, you can just kind of stick them anywhere. They have to be on these small cables though. You know, if you want to use them. But there we go. But it's pretty bright up here already. I don't think we need them. I did have them over here connected to this, but I don't think we need them, so I'm not going to use them for now. And then I had some crafting terminals up here, which we don't need. Those take channels. The illumination panels do not. All right, let's drop down and keep going with these. All right, so again, these 4 middle sections are going to have 4 and 5, so they're 9, and then the outside sections are going to have 10. Okay, so we'll do 4. Okay. These are for something else. I'll show you in a while. Alright, so good. We have those connected. Alright. One thing I do really like about Applied Energistics is the ability to stick the terminals in the wall and cover them with facades. I think that that is something that Refined Storage does not do, and still doesn't in Refined Storage 2, as far as I know. Maybe they're working on that. Different versions of the different terminals. What do they call them? They don't call them terminals. They call them something else. Monitors. Yeah, so this is basically what I did off camera. Is putting all this together. And it does not matter which side is 5 and which side is 4. You don't have to keep it consistent. If you're building it exactly like I have. And I hope you don't. I hope you kind of come up with your own design, and I would love to hear about what design you came up with, or anything like that. So let's see. Because I love seeing other people's designs. A buddy of mine comes up with the coolest stuff, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know you were that creative. Not in a negative way, but I mean, it's impressive. All right, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll just do this here, bop. And I do like how it has this shadow box, the white box that shows you where it's going to place. I think that is excellent. Excellent design. Oh, I say this one is 5, so how many channels is that? Of course, it's going to be 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so this one has to go over here. Nah, it doesn't have to. I mean, I could have connected it this way, but... Okay. And then my last section here is right behind me, this one here. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we have all of our storage system cabled up after this section. And we'll go back up and take a look at the channels, make sure that I counted everything right, add that trash can back in. And you'll see why. If you don't want to throw away your wax, you don't have to. You can store it if you want. It might not be a bad idea, because you can always void it out. Actually, let's do that. Let's not set up a trash can. We'll just kind of keep the wax, because wax is useful in making candles. Candles are useful in a different mod that we're going to be getting into later. Not super useful super long, but they are useful. So, all right, now that is all repaired. Let's head back upstairs, and I'll facade all of that off camera. But let's check our channels here. So we got 25, 26, 30, 30. And over here should be 21, 20. So we're good. So we have everything connected up here. 30, 32 channels. And this should be working great. Now, what do we do with our items? I would recommend setting up external storage drawers, an external storage system. So compacting drawers here. Where's my drawer controller? Drawer controller here. And I recommend you setting up a, where is it at? Did I put it somewhere else? Ah, I put it here. No. Birch drawer. Maybe I put it back in storage. Nope, I did not. But I can put these facades in here for now. And this extra centrifuge that I have, and the trash can, and the extra cables. Okay. We'll put all of that back in there. I thought I had, let's set the network controller back up. And let's show you how to connect these back again. All right, so I want this in a place where I can connect the two systems easily. So this has how many channels? 26, and this is 25. So I can put it here. But I want that piece. Well, let's go back. Let's go over to refined storage and grab it. Now I could have just used my remote thing, but I moved the receiver, so trim. That's what I was looking for. Okay. I'm gonna put a piece of trim in the ceiling, and then right here, and then I'm gonna set the compacting drawers. I kind of want the compacting drawers down here like this. I think that would be cool if they were. Nope, that's the drawer controller. And then connecting it up with storage drawers. So let's grab all of these, and we'll work on this in a minute. Okay. So then I want the drawer controller here. Okay. Now the drawer controller, I'm going to export basically everything out to here, to the drawer controllers. But in order to do that, I need to export them to here. So we're going to export on the back of all of these. Actually, let's move these a little closer. No, we'll just leave it here. That's fine. And the reason is, for some reason, if I were to put an export bus here and connect it up, even though the inventory is good, so for example, I have space for redstone here, right? I have redstone in the system. If I were to set up an export bus, just say, hey, export everything. It doesn't work. So this is connected up. Redstone is not going in here. Oh, it's not connected. So let's connect this up to here. See how redstone is not going in there? So it's not detecting that that it can go there. So it's not like I can say, hey, export into the system, or export into the storage, the drawer controller, and just everything work. I wish it was that simple. That'd be really cool. But that's not how it works. So we're going to use these storage drawers here to connect up. And I made them the same color, the same material as the surroundings, so that it can kind of keep the aesthetic, right? And I think I need more storage drawers. I need to get this receiver set up again. So storage drawer, birch drawers. I think I need more than those. Let's do 32. And I'll just take a bunch of them over there and connect them all up. And that'll be fine. That's just enough to get them connected, I think. So what I have to do is I have to export all of my items into these chests and then run those over to the drawer controller. So let's hook up these here like this and bring them down. That works. Like that. Okay. So that's basically how I'm going to run this, right? So this is going to come across, and all of these should be locked. So let's jump into our backpack here, and we'll lock them all. And I want to void upgrade everything because I want these bees to constantly produce. I don't want them to back up at all. You know what I mean? Good. Now what I should do before I hook this up is set up enough storage drawers for everything. But I'm not going to do that because I'll do that off camera. And I'm going to put a bunch of compacting drawers. I'll put one more here, 3 more here, and the compacting drawers will just be on the bottom like this. And then the birch storage drawers will be here, kind of where not where the windows are. Okay, let me show you how to actually get this to work. Okay, so we're going to export to these chests, and to do that, we got to connect them all up to the system, and we got to tell it what to connect. So that's 8 channels. That'll be 8 chests, and we're actually going to take these capacity cards and right-click on the export bus. Now, to make the capacity cards, it just takes a Certus quartz of any kind and a basic card to make a capacity card. Now, the basic card is made with a calculator processor, which we know how to automate. Just some iron, gold, and redstone. That'll give you 2 of those. So that's a pretty easy recipe to automate. And I would get 2, which is the maximum, for each of these exporters. That just opens up all 9 slots. So putting 1 in here gives me 4 more, and putting another gives me the other 4. So 2 card upgrades per chest, and that's going to give me enough for all of my bees. So now what I want to do is I want to say, okay, let's grab 1 of each of these. Basically one of each of the things that we're crafting, and put them in here like this. That's good. We'll put those back. Now what it's going to do, the system is going to do, is it's going to take out of the system, it's going to pull it out of the applied energistics system and stick it in this chest. You see how it's filling up like that? So then what we have to do is we have to use our good old pipe system. Like that. And we're going to run this into the front. And we're going to lose our way out of here, which is totally fine. Okay. And we'll grab our wrench. Where is our wrench? Here it is. And we're going to pull that out and stick that into the system. Now, if we come down here, we should see that redstone, where's it at? Yeah, it's working. So our lapis is going up. All of these other things should go up. And what I can do, if I want to, is I can put wax here. And that'll take all of our wax. And I have empty bottles and I have full bottles. So every time I use something, it'll go in there. And then I'll put empty bottles back in there. All right, so all of this will be pulled out and stuck in there. I do need to add the bottles to it. And anything else, pollen puff, I think I need to add to it. So let's come back up here. Oh, I missed it. Okay. So, yep, let's add the bottles. There we go. Let me stick all of that in there, and it'll get sorted out eventually. Okay. So, then what we do is we say, okay, I want to connect my applied energistic system to my storage door system. So that's just going to be an external storage. Do I have that up here? Yeah. Those don't go anywhere, so they're not going to go anywhere. So then, let's see. Where is it? This is for refined storage. I thought I made an external storage. Oh, I didn't. Okay. We can set that up. I'll show you how. All right, so then I pick a side. It doesn't matter. I'm going to pick this side over here. Uh-oh. I can't get over there anymore. I'm going to pick this side over here. And then I'm going to, let's go here with it, I suppose. And we'll do an external storage like that. We'll put our wireless transmitter on top. Let's put it on the front with our 4 range upgrades. And now we have access to, no, we don't. I have to go back over to the main building, grab that card. I have to remember which card it is. Right click on it and stick it back in. That is something that I hope Refined Storage 2 takes care of. Is it this one? And I wish I could name these. Yeah, I think it's that one. We'll find out. We'll find out soon enough. I'll put it in here, connect it, toss it back in. We should be good. Okay, so right click, shift right click. Yep. Okay, now I should have access to all of these items over here, as well as the system over here. Wrong item. There we go, good. I think I used the wrong item earlier too, that's funny. Alright, so it's this one, and I think that's working. So let's take a look. Do I have access to prosperity shards? I do. Do I have access to flux crystals? I do. Put this back in. Okay, cool. Okay, so now what we have done is we've automated our bees, right? So the bees are producing what they're producing. They're being pulled in to the system. So the system is storing the, oh, that wax need a void upgrade. Oh good, I made enough. I don't want to void upgrade that. How do I get that out of there? Oh, nice. So shift right click with an empty hand. I don't want to void bottles. I do want to void honey. We'll just put an upgrade in here for all of these, because they're going to keep producing and it's going to be too much. So yeah, this should be pulling out of the system. No? Yeah, it's producing a lot of wax. So do I not have wax up here? I do not. So we'll put wax here. Now that should be pulling wax out of the system. Good. And sticking it in here. Yep. Great. Now I'm also not seeing diamonds being pulled out or prosperity shards. Let's go take a look at that. diamonds in here? Nope. And prosperity shards? Nope. Okay, so we'll add those to that. And anytime that we make any of those waxes, the honeycombs, they'll come in here, and all we have to do is we have to just add them to the chests, and it'll get automatically sent to our system here. And anything that can be changed into a block or a shard will go into a compacting drawer, and everything else will be put up here and voided. Okay, and we have access to the let's see, wax. Yeah, we have access to the system with our refined storage. So that is how you connect basically the two systems. Now what we can do is we can craft a external what is it called in Applied Energistics 2? I don't think that's going to work. And I don't think I really want to connect an external storage to this. It's going to like cycle itself and break. But I do want access to this with refined storage. So that'll work. Okay, so one of the things that I do want to do is exporting glass shards and importing them, or glass bottles, and importing them into this to the system here. So when I make a glass bottle, I want it to come over here, and then once it's used to make honey, I want it to basically just go back into the system. So what I mean is I have recipes over here in refined storage that will consume the honey bottle and produce an empty bottle. And I want that empty bottle to come over into the external storage, the Applied Energistics 2 system, and then get put in the storage for us. So how that works is, let's see here. Let's see if we can get this so it doesn't break. I don't think having it down here is going to be a good idea. So let's take this out, and we'll connect that with a different drawer. I need to lock this drawer before I stick it down. Okay, and I need to put a void up. What happened to those? Where did they go? Oh, they're over here. Okay. Put one of those in there. All right, pick that up. Stick that there. Okay. Because if we have glass bottles down there, they will keep cycling in, and it'll break the system, I think. So I want to have glass bottles like here, okay? And then I want to export glass bottles from my system. So let's just grab one of these, stick that in there. Now all the glass bottles I stick in here will be exported. So let's just make 10 more. So I have 28 here. I'm going to start, and every time it makes a glass bottle, it'll actually stick it over here. Then what I want to do is I want to import those into our system. Like that. Okay. Now that'll pull them back out, and it'll stick them into our Applied Energistics 2 system. So I should get glass bottles in here. That's probably filling up the bottler, actually, is where they're going. Let's go take a look. They should be going in here. Yep, they are. And now that that's full, I should be seeing glass bottles in the Applied Energistics system. They should be pulling those out. So that should be 0. Okay. So they must be full. That's okay. So as I use glass, though, as I use the honey bottles from here, it'll produce a glass jar, stick it up there, and then pull it back into the system and stick it back in the bottler. So that's how we do that. All right. Hopefully that wasn't too fast. Okay. Before I have to go, this is a really long episode. Before I have to go, let's show you how to make these different bees here. So the redstone bee, and I'll show you here. The redstone bee is bred by putting the glowing bee and the chocolate mining bee together. And what I've done up here is I've put a hopper botany pot with a poppy in it, and it's just making a bunch of poppies. And since it's a hopper botany pot, it's dropping flowers down into the inventory below it where possible. Now in the breeding chamber, it's going to always fill up with these poppies. So basically all I have to do is take two bees that I want to breed together, like like the glowing bee and the chocolate mining bee. Stick them here, and then all I have to do is take my bee cage, and I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that's how many I want in my hive, and I'll stick them in there. So basically take the two bees that you need from in here. These are all the different bees that I've got, and put one here and the other one here, and they will breed all 5 of these. Now what I have here is I have a item pipe pulling them out and sticking them in here. So aluminum bee, for example, was one that I made. Let's take a look and see if we can make productive bees. Let's go ahead and do some. Let's see. Let's do a relatively early one, like a copper bee. There's a bronze bee. Bronze bee is going to need a copper bee. So copper bee is going to be a crystalline bee and an ashy mining bee. So here's my ashy mining bee and a crystalline bee. I only have one crystalline bee. I need to fix that. And I'm going to look here. I want productivity to be as high as possible. So that's all normal. Here's a high one. High ashy mining bee productivity. Okay. I'm going to stick these in here, and that should give me a copper. It didn't give me iron. So pull it out, stick it back in. Tin. That's fine. I don't have any tin bees. So actually, do I want an iron bee? Do I have any iron bees? I don't have any iron bees. Let's get the iron bee back. There we go. And I'm just going to let this run. Wait, do I have iron bees? I do. I have one iron bee, so we'll just drop that down to 4. And we'll let this guy produce 4 iron bees. Now every time this breeds, it's gonna consume one of these and get stuck in here. Okay, and then I can come in here and take my iron bees and go put them into one of the beehives. Now to make the lapis bee, you need a redstone bee, which is why I showed you that one first, and a blue banded bee. Now if you've been following along and you've been collecting the bees when I collect them, you should have all of the normal nest bees. So these shouldn't be too hard for you to get. Now the next one is using the lapis bee with yes, the lapis bee with the ender bee, which we got in the last episode, to get the diamond bee. Okay, then you use the diamond bee with a slimy bee to get the emerald bee, and then you can use the emerald bee with the lapis bee to make the experience bee. Now we don't have the experience bee, that's something for later, but when I look into my hives here, the redstone bee, that's the tier 1, or tier 2 rather. It uses 2 nest bees. I've got the spatial bee, which I showed you how to get, the regular bees, Prospera bee, which is a feeding one, the Fluix bees, which is you have to let them grow. You actually don't have to let them grow. It turns out you can just stick them in here as long as you've got an upgrade simulator. You can just stick them in here, and they will become adults over time. So you don't have to let them grow. don't wait for them to grow. Make them, capture them, and stick them in here. So just make sure you have that simulator upgrade. All right, then your lapis bees. I showed you how to make those. It's the redstone plus one of the other nest ones. This would be considered a tier 3. This is a tier 4, and this is a tier 5. So that's how you make those. And again, you can just click on the centrifuge right above it and make sure that you have their food, right? So their food is going to be whatever they produce. So in this case, diamond, lapis. Now look, check this out. Where you place the block changes how it looks. You see how this is like a normal block, it's just square in the middle. And this one is turned on its side and angled, which is kind of cool. And this one over here puts it at like an angle like that, which I think is the coolest. That's actually my favorite. So it kind of displays the block in a cool way, I think. But it doesn't matter. And all these flowers will show up like that, and then the red, so it's quartz block and the redstone block. Yeah. So that's how that goes. I'm gonna put a facade on all of these, and I'll be back in the next episode to breed more bees with you guys. I'll show you how to set up all these iron bees that we're making here. That doesn't actually take long. You put your speed upgrades in here, put the 2 bees that you need with the bee cage, and boom. Definitely use the hopper botany pot on top with some dirt. Save yourself a lot of time. All right, that is how to set up applied energistics for the beehive. It's definitely channel heavy, right? So if you don't want to do this, just use refined storage. That's fine. If you want to use pipes, that's fine. It's just more difficult. You need a way to filter what goes where. If you want to design your own system, that's totally cool. But this is just how I did it. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care.